One strategy that people used to do a ton of was guest posting in order to get backlinks. So the concept is pretty simple. You have lots of blogs out there, and what you would do is you would reach out to this blog, say you have an article that you can write for them. You write the article, and in exchange for doing that, they allow you to put a little blurb about yourself and a link back to your website. Perfectly fine, which we'll cover in more detail in a second, but people would be doing this over and over again just to get that link. And what they would do is the content that they would produce was pretty low quality. So they would write the bare minimum, maybe a 400-word article for a post, just so they could get that link going back to their website. Because, like we said, the more links you have to your website, the better. So these blogs were not having very high standards as far as who was guest posting, because they simply wanted lots and lots of content on their website and didn't care if they linked back to your website. But things changed. Google got really, really smart about guest posting. And in early 2014, Matt Cutts, who used to be kind of the SEO face of Google, he said basically guest posting is pretty much done. Google has figured out a way that they are not going to count those links that you get from doing guest posts. So if you wrote a really great blog post for another website, and at the bottom you had that little blurb about yourself and you link back to your website, Google was basically smart enough, or at least they claimed, that they were not going to count that little link back to your website for any direct SEO benefit. So you wouldn't get a ranking boost, you wouldn't get credit for that link. It simply, that's what Google decided to do. Now, should we even bother with guest posting? That's a reasonable question you might be asking yourself. Well, in my opinion, yes, there's still a lot of great value in doing guest posts, and for two reasons. Number one, if you do a guest post and you write a really great article, you are not going to be penalized for this. I don't want to misinterpret this. Google simply is not going to count the link, but they're not going to penalize you if you're not going crazy on this. So you're going to get a lot of really great traffic from this if it's from a high reach blog. So if you are in the vegetarian business and there's a huge blog that gets millions of visits, if you write a really great post, then it's going to get a lot of attention and a lot of people might click back to your website. This is perfectly fine. Google totally gets this, understands it. It's a great opportunity to reach out to similar websites in your niche and write a blog post, provide a lot of great value, and link back to your site. Totally fine. Like I said, you're not going to get that immediate benefit from that link, but it's still going to give you a lot of traffic. And if people like your article, they go to your website, they sign up for your newsletter, etc., etc. These are all really positive things. The second benefit is you could potentially get some links that you do get credit for. So if you write, again, a really great blog post, it gets a lot of attention. If other people notice it and link to your website, so let's say a blogger just happens to be reading this blog of a post that you wrote and they really like it, and then they link to your site directly. So they may not necessarily link to the article you wrote, but they check out your website and link to some of your articles. You are going to get credit in Google's eyes from that. So if they link to the blog post you made, you're not going to get that direct benefit. But if they decide to link to you from another article or whatever you wrote, you are going to get credit for that. And same thing, if someone goes to your website after reading your great guest post and then starts liking you, starts tweeting you, etc., you are going to benefit from that. So it's great to write guest posts, get some exposure and boost your followers that way. Because once they start linking to you and promoting you directly to your website, you are going to benefit from that. So the question is, how can we find guest posts? It's actually quite simple. You can overcomplicate this. There's a lot of crazy tools and strategies out there to really hone this. But if you simply do some basic Google searches, you can find lots of opportunities. So let's say I'm an SEO expert and I'm trying to find guest post opportunities. What I could do is I could do in quotes guest post and then the term I'm wanting to write about. So in this case, SEO. You can find lots of blogs out there that are looking for guest post opportunities. So if I'm looking right here, you can see number one, guest post guidelines. So this person's clearly looking for guest post opportunities. Down here, another guest post, submit a guest post. Stream SEO accepts high quality relevant guest posts. So here's 3 right here of places that I could do a guest post for. So just looking at these, I'll let you know, these people have very detailed requirements usually, which is great. And you should absolutely not waste their time by writing a low quality post. You should follow their guidelines to the letter. So I would read and reread their requirements and make sure that you're doing it. So you're not wasting their time and you're not wasting their time and you're not wasting your time. So for example, this guest post, minimum of 1,800 words and kind of the high end 2,500 words. So if you're going to write a guest post that's 1,000 words, then that is not what you should do for this particular website. You should follow their guidelines to the letter. Here's another one, and get rid of the pop-up. But what they're looking for, so they're talking about categories and stuff that they're looking for. So do not write a guest post about something that doesn't fall under these categories. You can reach out to them and propose a post in advance that may not be in the category, but chances are this is what they want because this is what they specified. Another one, submit a guest post. Again, they have very diligent requirements. So what you can do is just have, in quotes, guest post, followed by whatever search term you're wanting to write a post about. So if you are a chef and you want to do eggplant recipes, you could say guest post eggplant recipes, or guest post healthy recipes, something like that. And you can even do more searches than just guest post. You can do, and this page gives a lot of examples. You could do guest post wanted, guest post opportunities, guest column, submit content, submit your content, submit post, etc., etc. So you can replace just guest post with submit content. So I'll just plug that in and see what happens. Submit content, SEO, and it might be hit or miss. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything that really, okay, so here's one. You could post to Reddit. So that one didn't work as well as the other one. But some of these, I'm sure if you give it the chance, would work, and you would find opportunities similar to what we found before, where we found these. So again, this is a great strategy to gain some exposure. You're not going to get that immediate direct benefit from the link because Google kind of put the slam to it. They got tired of people overusing this strategy. But it's a great way to get followers, and it's a great way to get indirect links from people that end up liking you later and sharing your content that way. So I hope this has been helpful in clearing up some of the misconceptions about guest posting and whether you should or shouldn't do it.